all know that carrying that out is much more difficult. Everyone wants a magical pill or a surgical solution that makes it very easy. But Charles really breaks this down to 3 simple steps. One is, of course, the diet and making sure you have satiety throughout the day.
I think the great thing about Charles is it's not just about a health plan and diet and exercise and you stick to that. The biggest change that I saw was him figuring out why I failed all the previous times and what I needed to change. And the thing that struck to me was I was putting everything ahead of myself. I was working, I was taking care of family and kids. I was not taking care of myself. And that was a big change.
Well, my entire health, my ability just to live, just to fit in airline seats, to buy clothing off the rack, simply to even take a walk with my family. I just really hadn't quite gotten made aware of all the negative impacts that this extra weight was having, and you just live with it as it slowly comes on. And so then once I got the opportunity to see what it was like to be 110 pounds down again.
I remember the first day we met, I didn't think I would ever be here 90 pounds lighter a year later, but I'm so much healthier. My doctor's taken me off of blood pressure medicine, cholesterol medicine. I don't need it anymore. And I've done the things now to allow myself to live a healthy future.
The way he motivates or holds you accountable, his program is simple. It's, we all know negative energy balance, right? Eat less, spend more energy, exercise, you lose weight.
Problem that physicians often have is we get too much information. So we get thrown all sorts of things medically, socially, lifestyle-wise, from our colleagues, from our friends who may be in better health. Okay, this is what you need to do. This is how you need to do it. And that's actually the problem, is we get too much information and then it all becomes information overload.
I came to Charles desperate, looking for help. And when I say desperate, I mean desperate. I was the heaviest I've ever been. I felt terrible. I have 2 young kids, 2 young boys that run around, want to play outside. I just did not have the energy, stamina, or mental bandwidth, to be honest, to keep up with them.
Got more energy, keep up with my kids. It's great.
And so after this journey, I can really look my patients in the eye and say, hey, I can do this, and I've done this, and I've done this with a really rigorous and sort of hopeful message, rather than in this sort of difficult fashion, which would be and one in which in a healthy way, rather than doing it in this crash cry kind of way. And
I feel differently about food, about exercise. It's just a different level of motivation, a different approach. The accountability in Charles' program is huge. I think that's really what kept me on track and successful.
Yeah, since I started, I no longer take medication for my blood pressure, and it's staying normal now. So.
Create a framework in my life. My life can get very, hectic at times, erratic schedules, especially with traveling and so forth. But I have this framework that I can always go back to, and it sort of gives me a discipline that I can stick with.
I like to accomplish things. I like to get things done. I like to check boxes, and I just wasn't getting where I wanted to be. I've always valued taking care of myself, but for some reason, food and weight issues just always were evasive to me.
I thought it was time to invest some of that in myself. And that's kind of how I think about it. I was prompted to do it by my wife, who saw Charles on TV and said, you should call him. You want to feel better. So it was amazing going through the transformation. I've gained so much confidence and joy. I said joy.
Working with Charles can give you a path to follow, not only to lose the weight, but to keep it off long term.
An example that this method worked for me, and I would recommend it.
I think he's got a very different approach to losing weight and changing the way you live your life.
My size has changed for the more pleasant. For me, I move more easily. I have more energy, more stamina.
I think he can be transformational for lots of lives.
Best decision, aside from maybe marrying my wife, having kids, and being a physician, best decision other than those things in my life.
I felt like that was perhaps the most sort of tangible difference, is that I found myself being a better physician as a result of this.
The best decision decision I've made in a long time.
If you're having trouble doing it on your own, then say he will provide the accountability that you need to get from here to there.
I am living proof that it is very possible. You need to just invest in yourself. Charles is there to help you.
Charles really breaks it down into ways that you can understand and carry it out and hold your hand along the way.